Hey guys, it's Fred. Have another piece of the file, TBI file on Buford and Pauline Pusser that was sent to me. This one here's dated September the 3rd, 1967. Now, once again, look at the top there and you'll see where it's Department of Safety, Nashville, Tennessee. So it's showing where it's coming from. I'll tell you, it's going to memorandum to W.E. Horton, director. W.E. Horton was the director of the TBI at this time. And it's from Warren Jones, agent. Look at there, guys. Look at Warren Jones's initials. Isn't that funny? You got Warren Jones' initials there. You don't have that on Jim Moffat's so-called statement. You don't have that on Buford Pusser's so-called statement. You don't have no letterhead. You don't have, look at the date. There's your date. That's the way a statement is supposed to look. That's a statement right here. Case 5644. That's Pauline Buford Pusser cases. Look out from the names. Pauline Pusser, victim. Sheriff Buford Pusser, victim. McNairy County, Tennessee. Can you see that, guys? I don't want to harp on it, but I do want to point this out. This is from Warren Jones, agent, TBI. There's his initials beside of his name, acknowledging that this is his statement, that this is from him. He's referring to Pauline Pusser as a victim. He's referring to Buford Pusser as a victim. This is September something, September the 3rd, August the 12th. This is almost a month later. He's had a month to investigate. Some people says, Mike Elam said he knew right then. He knew that day. He knew that something was fishy when he arrived on the scene, and he knew that, really? Because here's a month later, all he had to do was leave off the victim part. He didn't have to. That's voluntarily. Pauline Pusser, victim. Sheriff Buford Pusser, victim. Just leave it off. Just put their names. Pauline Pusser, Buford Pusser. He put down there they were victims. Not only Pauline, but Buford as well. Remember that. This is for, guys, some of you, again, I'm not trying to make enemies. This is about Buford Pusser. It ain't about having arguments with other people and falling out. So I don't need that. Neither do you. But for some of you hard-bent people that's been out of shape over Mike Elam and different people that's fed you not the truth over the years, look at things like this. Look at things like this and open, because some of you smart. I've talked to you, I've texted you, and some of you smart, and I respect your opinions. I respect your opinions. And talking about education, it don't always take education. Sometimes it just takes common sense. So some of you don't be so hard. Some people's got better common sense than they got education. But when you look at this, think to yourself and say, hey, that makes sense. I'd like to pull some of these people, I don't want to say to the other side. I don't want it to be sides, either a Buford fan or not a Buford fan. Let's call it false and truth. True and false, let's call it. Do you want to be on the true side or the false side? Don't matter which side, how you want to refer it, a Buford fan or not or whatever, just true or false. FBI lab report. There's the lab report number, dated 8/30. So they submitted this stuff to the FBI lab on August the 30th on blood typing of dried blood on Sheriff Pusser's car. So what this is in relation to, they're going to send the FBI some blood samples, and they want typing. They want to know. Now remember, we didn't have DNA back in that day. We didn't have, we're not that modern then, but they could tell you what type of blood it was. And they're asking for blood types. You will recall, and this is Agent Warren Jones writing to his supervisor, the director of the TBI. You will recall my discussing with you the unusual location of several drops of dry blood on the passenger side of hood and on the outside of windshield of Sheriff Pusser's car, as it could not be ascertained how the blood drops, several in number, got on the hood on the passenger side and on the outside of the windshield. I scraped blood from 7 different spots on Sheriff Pusser's car and sent them to the FBI lab to have them typed. For your information, have positive information that Pauline Pusser's blood type is A positive and Sheriff Pusser's is O positive. It will be noted in the FBI lab report, which I feel certain you have been furnished a copy of, that they typed the blood or were able to type the blood. He's got unable there, or were unable, but it's X'd out. He's got 2 X's over it. In every spot except the blood on the hood and on the outside the windshield. Well, shucks, that's where we need it most. They needed to know how her blood got on the outside of the car, on the hood and on the windshield. Well, this guy says, Jones says they were able to type the blood in every spot except the blood on the hood and on the outside of windshield and on the rear bumper. We're not worried about the rear bumper. We know that's probably Buford's when he went to his trunk to get his gun. But now the hood and the windshield, that's what they're saying, that, oh, she was killed on the outside and moved inside. They advised the group testing on the blood on hood and rear bumper were inconclusive. So when you read these experts' opinions, guys, these expert reports, remember, the FBI themselves ruled the blood on the windshield on the outside of the car and the blood on the hood on the outside of the car was inconclusive. Remember that, because that's it. We can stop reading right here. Inconclusive. So no matter what Dr. Revelle and all these people says, well, they were moved, she was shot on the outside and moved inside, and there's no evidence of that, because the FBI's case with the blood, who had the blood back then, not something you're doing a blood splatter on a hood today on an AI car and so forth. The FBI said it was inconclusive. If the FBI says it's inconclusive, believe me, it's inconclusive. This may be the reason why the TBI and Mr. Davison went with expert witnesses, went with paid witnesses rather than going through the FBI, because the FBI has already said it was inconclusive, that it's no way to determine whose blood it was on the hood or the windshield. So that case is dead. That dog won't hunt. It didn't hunt then, and it's not going to hunt in 2025, but they say, hey, skip the FBI, let's go from them. Let's just go hire some private individuals, corporations, organizations. Let's see what they give us. And they gave it to them. This being the case, we still don't know for sure whose blood is on the hood and outside the windshield and on the rear bumper. However, I talked with Sheriff Pusser at his home in Adamsville last week, and again went into detail with him as to what occurred, as he was shot in the chin and bleeding profusely. And as he stated, he walked around the car while holding on to it. There is a good possibility it is his blood. No, there was a time I would have said a word there, but no, no poop. Let's just say no poop. You reckon? You reckon there, Special Agent Warren Jones, do you reckon it could have been Buford's blood? Goodness sakes, what a friggin' genius. I did find bloody handprints on the outside of his car where he said he held onto the car walking around. No doubt, the man's losing blood. He's probably dizzy, probably hyperventilating, panicked. It is possible, I guess, if he was bleeding profusely, for his blood to have gotten on the hood and on the outside the windshield. No poop. Imagine, guys, also, her brains had been blown out, sitting right next to Buford. The left side of her head was blown out. She had a blowout. Shot through the back of the head. It come out the side, left side of her head, and that's the same direction that her brain matter would have gone. So even if they could have got a conclusive test, probably the reason it was inconclusive is because it's his and hers. Probably his and hers mixed together, where her brains had blown all over him, and now he's dropping blood. He would have to have been bleeding very severely, as there was numerous drops of blood all over the passenger side of the hood and several drops of blood on the outside of the windshield. Guys, you got to imagine, this is not little 5'7" Fred McCoy walking around that car. That would drop blood probably on the fender well. I may get a drop or two on the hood. I'm barely taller enough to go over the hood. Imagine a 6'6" giant that's dropping blood everywhere, and he's walking around that car. Now, you take 6'6" and hang it up in the air over top of that hood and windshield, you're going to get a blood splatter on the windshield. Not from a short person, but from a tall person. For your information, he has been very cooperative and helpful to me and Sloan. Everything he tells fits the physical condition observed. Guys, been very cooperative, and everything he tells fits the physical condition observed, except, as stated, for the several drops of blood on the hood and outside the windshield. That's his, guys. He's been shot. His chin's been shot off. His wife, brains have been blown all over him. I did note bloody handprints on the outside of his car. As stated, if he was bleeding profusely, it is possible for his blood to have gotten onto the hood and outside windshield. Guys, it don't get no plainer than that. Don't have page 2 yet. We'll do a story on it when we get it. It don't get no plainer than that. Victims, Buford and his wife, bleeding profusely, 6'6", walking around the car. He's got blood all over him. He's trying to get in his trunk, trying to find his keys, trying to hold on to the car because he's dizzy, losing consciousness, losing blood. You ever give blood? You can give blood. You can give a pint of blood and you get dizzy and lose. That's why you have to eat. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, and man's not eat all night. He's been out all night, then come in and just lay down, and they call him back out to go on a complaint. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, guys. There's for your viewing. There's that page of the statement. You can read that. Read it verbatim, word for word. It's like the Bible. When you're reading a statement or something like this, it's like the Bible. Don't put nothing in and don't take nothing out. Read it for what it says. Don't adjust. Don't put a rumor in there. Don't take a rumor out. Read it for what it says. And what it says is, there's their blood types. He was very cooperative. Been very cooperative and helpful to me and Sloan. Everything he tells fits the physical condition observed. The only thing Warren Jones had a question about it this time. The only thing he had a question about was the blood spots on the outside of the hood. Well, the FBI says they're inconclusive. I think they're inconclusive because her brains had got mixed in with his blood coming from his chin, and it's dripping together. For somebody to say she was killed on the outside of the vehicle and moved inside just because there's some blood splatter on the outside windshield, That man's 6'6" tall. That's like a friggin' giant walking around that car. I have to use a sponge with a stick on it to wash the top of a Volkswagen. It ain't that bad. I'm taller than that. But can you imagine being 6'6", walking around a car and you're bleeding everywhere? Self-explanatory, guys. There's no need me beating a dead horse on this one. If you guys can't read this, all you naysayers, come on. Be open-minded there. Read it with an open mind. See what it says. This is Warren Jones' statement. On the end of page 2, you're going to see where he signed his statement. But there he is where he's initialed it already. He's already acknowledged this is his statement. There's the letterhead. There's everything you could want on a statement. The date, the time. There it is. Thank you, guys. Catch you next time.